Okay, gonna make some patchwork paper because I want to make a journal that is totally made out of scraps, and I'm not going to be doing anything like machine stitching. If I do any stitching, it'll be by hand. There won't be any stamping. I'm inspired to do this by Eva from Bohemian Crafting, who did a journal the other day with she didn't use any gadgets. It was just paper, scissors, glue. I think she used a stapler once, and just junk, basically. So a proper junk journal. So I'm going to get started making this paper. Yeah, what I'm going to do is just going to make one long strip of paper and then cut it down to the pieces I want. So I've got all sorts of bits here. I've got map pages and gel prints and printables that didn't work out and all sorts of things. So I'm going to glue them all together and then cut it down into pieces, so book-sized pieces basically. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff here. So I'm just going to get cracking on that. So I'll move that over to there. What's inside here? Alright, this looks like a good place to start. Non-stick mat there. I'm only using glue stick, and yeah, I want to try and keep it about the size of A4, so I actually might stick my papers down onto this one to start with, and then just go a single layer from there on with it. So I want it to look really organic. And because I'm going to be just letting it fall off the other side of my desk, I'm going to put it around this way and go from there. So that'll be my first bit of paper there. Probably tear a bit of that off. So these look like the printables that maybe I didn't use. Obviously didn't use because they're still here. Maybe they didn't print properly. The colours might not have been what I wanted. I think I just glued the wrong thing then. Yeah, glue down here. Okay. I can't work and talk at the same time, clearly. I'm just going to move that to there. So I did some earlier on, and I thought I love this so much I'm going to show everybody how to make it. So I'm just going to turn it over whenever I can and work from both sides. What I don't want is huge, like big pieces of the same thing. But where it overlaps, I think it really needs to be overlapped a fair bit so that it holds together, because it is only glue stick that's keeping it together. And you could use a different glue. I like the glue stick because it doesn't make the paper wet. You could also stitch the seams later on. So I like this, and I'm going to go this way. I want to keep one edge fairly straight, so that's helpful when you start cutting the paper up. So you've got one reasonably straight edge to cut along. Okay, so I was going to trim that down, but I think I'll just leave it. But I don't need it to be that wide, so I'm going to cut it in half. And then I can use this piece a bit later on. Doesn't matter which way up the writing goes. That's something you don't need to worry about. Well, I've got my ruler here. I will sort of bring that into line with the other ones. This is a great way of getting rid of scraps. So these papers I would have collected for some reason, but haven't used them. That's a nice one. So it's off the table now, so I'm probably going to have to think about putting a weight on it to stop it from falling down onto the floor. So it grows pretty quickly. When I've finished, I'll turn it over and I'll make sure everything is glued properly, so there's no bits that aren't stuck down properly. So here's my 12 pages, and as I said, I'm going to put them into threes and make 4 signatures. Or I could put 4 signatures of 3. I'll make up my mind about that as I go along. All the pages are slightly different size, so it doesn't matter. So I want to make my cover about 1/4 inch bigger than the pages all the way around. So if I go 8.5, that's not quite 1/4 on each side, but it's all right. So this way it is 5 1/4. Okay, so need to allow for a spine. So what I'm going to do is just mark 5 1/4 in from each end. Okay, so that's left all that here, which is 2.5 inches. It's way too big for the spine. But what I'm going to do is cut that in half and then overlap it. If you wanted to put something to hang out of the spine, like a bookmark, this would be a good time to do it. So that's going to be the top. Okay, so not worrying about glue stick, so art glitter glue for that. Glue stick won't work, won't hold, so pop that in there. So what I'm going to do with it now is to add some collage to that, because I want to bulk it up a bit. 3 layers maybe, just to get that really nice and thick. I use book page and other things, same scraps that I've been using all along. Okay, so what I'm going to put on this is a layer of muslin or cheesecloth. I'm going to use Mod Podge to paste it down with. But before I do that, I've got a couple of these printables I thought I'd put under the muslin. So when the muslin goes over it, because it's transparent, you still see the image underneath. So I'm going to cut them out. Actually, I'm not sure about that one. I think this one, because it's sort of, the colours look better. Alright, so I'm going to cut those 2 images out and glue them on here. Alright, I've got a piece of muslin that I've cut a bit over the size of the cover. I'm not sure how it's going to work on this side, but on this side I think it's going to be perfect. But I think because there's not a great deal of contrast there, this one won't be, won't be seen as much, but that's okay. This is the front cover here, so that's the one. That's got to be the star of the show. This will help strengthen everything up too. Okay, that's pretty good. I won't be tucking that around, I'll just be cutting it off, and I'll probably leave some of it hanging over the edge because I like that look. Once I get this side on, I'm going to go over the whole thing with the Mod Podge, just to be sure that nothing's going to come off. Not sure what that is. Must be where the paper is overlapping underneath. That's okay. So I'll just put that aside and leave it to dry overnight. Oh, this is dry. I love this. It's turned out way better than I expected. I've never tried it before, but yeah, it's awesome. I love the way you can see through that. It's like you're looking through a mist. Now, there was something I stuffed up when I did the cover. Don't know if you noticed. I forgot to trim the length. I trimmed the side to get it the right width, but I didn't do the length. So I'm going to have to take, I don't want to, like, it needs to be about that long. And I don't want to take this right down, take it, you know, so that's the bottom. I want to go a little bit below it, so I'll have to take a bit out of here. So I'm going to do away with this bookmark bizzo and just cut this down, even it up a bit. Yeah, that's alright. So I didn't want that to be right at the bottom of the page. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm just going to trim off some of this. Now I was thinking of putting something down the spine, and also I want to just do a little bit of paint on here. Right, I've got white gesso and a couple of browns. So Mars Orange, this is called it. It's a brownie colour and then a dark brown. So I'm going to put some white gesso around in a few different places. I'm just going to dry brush it. At this point I've added these colours and I really wish that I hadn't. Not so much the brown, but the orange that I put on a bit later on. So I do eventually knock it back with a unbleached titanium. But if I was to ever do that again, I'd only use the gesso. I think it was unnecessary to add the colours. It's moved it away from the look I was wanting. I'm going to paint around the edge of the cover inside and out with black paint. I'm now going to bind the book. So I've made a template and I'm putting 3 signatures of 5 papers in. So the 3-hole pamphlet stitch is really easy to do. I'm not going to go into any depth on how to do it. There's 100,000 million videos on YouTube that show you how to do it, and I have shown it in other videos, so it's really a basic binding method. Once I've finished the binding, I'm just going through the book and check to make sure that there's no edges on the papers that are sticking up, and quickly glue them down. And I've decided I want to put this piece of fabric onto the spine of the book, so it's actually a silk handkerchief, or part of a silk handkerchief, and I'm putting the reverse side of the fabric as the outside because I like the colour better. So I'm going to use a craft glue to glue that on with, and I'll bring it over onto the covers a little bit, so there'll be about 1/2 inch on the cover. So I'm just checking the pages for any loose bits of paper. I love how there's writing on that. Someone's written on it in pencil. Yeah, and gluing down anything that I find that's sticking up a bit. There's a piece where I want to add some tape because I haven't overlapped the papers enough. But yeah, generally just using my little nozzle bottle with art glitter glue in it to stick down these bits and pieces. Sometimes the paint that's on it, because some of these are gel prints, prevents the glue stick from, adhering properly. But yeah, so art glitter glue is a really good glue to use in this instance. I love that man's brain. I love the way the papers blend together. Like everything's just really random, but it all just looks great. That page with all the faces on it, that's printed on tracing paper, so it's nice and crunchy and crackly. Well, that's the construction of the book, and the next thing I want to do is to go through and add some pockets into it. I'm going to use the same papers that I've used all the way through, so in keeping with it being made completely of leftovers and scraps. So that'll be my next video, so I hope you join me for that one. And in the meantime, have fun in your crafting room, and I'll see you soon for the next video. Hugs and cheers from Australia. Hooroo! Thank you.